Welcome to Cerebral Women in Paris Art Talks podcast. I'm Phyllis Hollis, your host. Years ago, after hearing an artist say art will save us, my intellectual curiosity was sparked, and I began a journey to understand exactly how. Through conversations with visual artists and the professionals who support them, I explore how art helps us see our history, our culture, our lives, and the experience of others in ways no other medium can. Capturing these voices is essential. They remind us of the power of art and the importance of noticing life's simple beauty. And now, here in Paris, a city that has long welcomed the daring, the dreamers, and the defiant, I continue these conversations where art breathes, questions, and reminds us that creation itself is an act of liberation. Welcome and enjoy Cerebral Women in Paris. In this episode, I feature Otis Kwame Kye Quaicoe. Born in Accra, Ghana, he grew up surrounded by color, rhythm, and family, one of 6 siblings whose laughter filled the home. His earliest dreams were of soccer fields chasing light and movement across the grass. But it was the hand-painted movie posters that once animated the streets of Ghana that truly captured his imagination. Those portraits, vivid, expressive, larger than life, awakened something within him, a pull toward image and emotion that would guide his path. That pull led him to the Ghanatta College of Art and Design, where he spent 4 transformative years honing his craft and discovering his voice. Art became not just a practice, but a way of seeing, celebrating beauty, dignity, and the quiet power within everyday lives. Today, Otis lives and works in Portland, Oregon, where his portraits have become windows into the soul and strength of his subjects. His luminous figures, set against radiant microchromatic backgrounds, stand in bold defiance of invisibility. They are tender yet unyielding symbols of pride, resilience, and self-possession. Through his work, he continues to illuminate the richness of Black identity, transforming memory, history, and everyday life into timeless reflections of humanity and grace. Enjoy this episode of Cerebral Women in Paris, featuring Otis Kwame Kye Quaicoe. Otis, welcome to Cerebral Women in Paris. I'm excited about our conversation.
Awesome. Thank you for welcoming me. Thank you for having me.
My pleasure. My first question is always, when did you discover your artistic passion?
Wow. I think it was during my childhood. I've always been passionate about soccer, and I've always wanted to grow up to be one of the best soccer players in the world. But, when you're a kid, you always have all these kind of things going for you. You say stuff to yourself, but growing up, things start to change, and your love and passion, all of that changes. But I discovered art through cinema posters, the giant poster being used for advertisement for the cinema, for the movie coming out, for the premiere movie. Those back then were commissioned by artists that they hand paint. And once I saw that poster and realized that it was actually done by people and painted, that was where my love, and I was just amazed by the talent, and my curiosity drew me closer and closer and closer to it. And that is how I started getting into art and learning about art and coming in contact with paint and how you can use paint to express yourself. So it was just like a little kid being handed a lot of toys to explore and play with. And that's how it was to me when I discovered that you can actually use paint to play around and create stuff. So gradually the love for it started growing and growing. And that's where I started shifting away from soccer to art.
I love that story. And while you were researching or observing, was there a particular artist who was painting those that really caught your attention?
I didn't know much about art. All I knew was that this person is talented, So it was all about what the person can do. I wasn't even thinking about his name or what type of artist is this or what type of paint he was using and all of that. All I knew is that the cinema that I go to watch movie, they have an artist that paints these posters. So then my main focus started shifting away from the movie. So now when I go to the theater, I don't go to the movie street. I go to the building that the artists live and work. So I always peek through the door that is like a little bit cracked open. And one time he noticed that I come there a lot. So he opened the door and said, "You can come in if you want." So I got in there and like now he became my movie theater. I go there all the time, sit there and watch him paint for hours. So then he took me in as a studio assistant and then gave me like a piece of drawing book. So I always like sketch whatever he's doing. I sketch, and then gradually he started giving me brush to kind of like, oh, you can start this side for me, you know. So it became like a teacher master sort of thing, and that's how it became like close to him. But I didn't know if he was the like the neighborhood artist that everybody know. All I knew is that I know somebody that can paint that is so talented, and I'm learning from the person. So at that time, there was no kind of like a name per se. It was like this known artist that I learned for. It was just somebody that I knew that were good at painting and taught me how to paint.
That's great. So, do you consider yourself a self taught artist?
Sometimes I split between self-taught and then also the basic education. Sometimes I always say from the beginning it was self-taught, and I come back again and say that after college it was self-taught also, because then after college you have to discover yourself, and by discovering yourself, plenty of that is doing your research, experimenting on your own, and all of that. So I always say that I fall between self-taught and learning from school. That's how I always categorize myself between self-taught and then also educational.
And so, how has your technique developed or changed over the years?
My techniques, it constantly changes, but I always make sure I stay to my identity, right? Because we always learn, even in life in general. There are things that happens to us that we add to what we already have in terms of the knowledge to enhance our living. And the same way with my practice. I always find something new. I always make sure that my next show is different from the previous one that I did. And I always make sure that I have something new. I try something new. I discover something new to add to what I already know. So my techniques always kind of like changes in terms of material, in terms of what I use in paint, but I always try and stay true to my identity.
And do you listen to music while you're working?
Music is one of my motivation. With, yeah, I never work without a music, and I always change the genres of my music in terms of my process. When I start with the eyes, I always have specific music genres that I play. When I move into the next phase, I change music, so it always goes with the flow. Because sometimes you just need a relaxed mind to be able to focus and do certain part, and at times you need to change the mood. You are in a kind of like hyper mood, and then it just helps. So music is one of the most important part in my process.
And what's the process of choosing color?
The process of choosing color, it's just something that comes from the guts. When it feels right, that's what I go for. The way my brains and color works, sometimes me myself I cannot explain. Sometimes it's just like it becomes a conversational thing with the artist and the canvas. Most of the time when I plan for a work, I think about the figure, I think about the muse, I think about the community or the people that I want to talk about or the subject matter that I want to talk about. That is what I most importantly think about. So once I sketch and then I start applying the paint, when it comes to, because with my figure, I know I have the grayscale and that's my main color, so I already know. But when it comes to choosing the color for the clothes and then the background, it's a conversational thing. I let it flow naturally. I don't plan for it. It comes whilst I'm in the process.
And when do you know a work is finished?
It's a feeling. It's a feeling that only you will know. Only you, the artist, will know that feeling. And your body and everything your brain will tell you, that's it.
And how do you keep learning?
How do I keep learning? Through mistakes.
Yeah.
Yep. Number one is through mistakes. And also looking at other artists and exploring other stuff. That is the most important part. The mistakes always teaches you something new. And then also when I go to exhibitions and see other works, you always learn something new. There's always a message, there's always something you learn from the other artists.
Do you feel Black art can be defined?
Do I feel Black art can be defined in terms of when you say define, like in terms of what?
Just the art world in general, categorizing artists or art by saying, oh, that's Black art, or that's Hispanic art, or that's Asian art. These blanket statements.
Yeah.
Do you feel that applies to Black artists?
I think, yeah, in the sense, it's all because of the different culture and ethnicities, and way of life and way of living. I think that's how, most importantly, you define what kind of art. Because of the scene, when you take an European art and you look at the scene, you can tell, you can define that, you can define the environment, you can define the people, you can define the culture, right? Same way with Black art. It's because of the culture. The culture is also different. So whatever we portray in, that's what people look at and define that based on that. So I think, yeah, it goes across Hispanic, Mexican art, European art, like all of that. So I think it's because of the different culture, different way of life, community, and all of that. So yeah, definitely.
I'm listening to what you're saying. It's like, whoa, deep.
Am I moving too fast?
No, 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 no. I mean, it's a question I always find really interesting. Everybody answers it, but yours was a unique answer, and I like it. Okay. When did the titles of the work enter the creative process?
For me, it's always after. It's always after. When I have a show, I think about the thoughts that comes in mind first is the theme for the show. So out of the theme from the show is when I create my poses or find the muse that fit for the theme. So then out of the pose and the character and the model that I find comes the title. It always comes after. Because when I complete the work, then it gives me the full story. Then I can actually create a title based on the completion of the story.
So within a body of work, are there concepts or thoughts that connect it all?
Always. Always. And that is why, most importantly, the theme, the title of the theme is what I create everything around, right? So sometimes when you meet the muse, his or a character also adds up to it. Because when I'm my work process, the whole goal is to talk about individuality, is to talk about group, is to talk about community, and it's to talk about race, and then history and where they come from. That is what most importantly I look for, and then try and work around and make sure that whatever the finished piece will be is based around these topics.
In that regard, are your life experiences also reflected in the work?
Exactly. Because I'm also a work in progress on my own. So I'm still somebody that building myself and try to find myself as a human being. So by doing so, I try to find myself in every piece of subject that I work with. When I get to know them, I also get to learn something about myself, my race, where I come from, and to be more appreciative of who I am as a human being. So by searching for myself, I look into every subject when I have a conversation with them, get to know them, and also discover myself as an artist and as a human being myself.
I love that. That's great. How do you define your practice?
How do I define my practice? I see myself as an inventor, right? I see myself as an inventor. I see myself as a journalist. Go about interview people, find out about their life story, and then tell their story to the world that the world needs to know about this person. But at the same time, the world also needs to know about this group of people in their history, in their present, and in their future. And by doing so, that is the journalism side that I always say that is my responsibility to do. And then the inventive side is the technique, how I bring this product out for people to accept. So that is where I add my genius, I add my discovery, I add things that I found to create this product, bring it out, and then for people to enjoy. That is how I say I define my career, being an inventor and a journalist in terms of like paint and brush.
If you had not discovered your passion to become an artist, do you think you would have pursued your career as a soccer player, or would you have pursued something else?
I still think I would have pursued soccer. Because even tonight, I've always said that if I still had the energy that I used to, I would still play soccer. I would still
Yeah,
play
that
soccer
energy.
because
Yeah.
I love soccer, and soccer comes with the energy and then the age as well. But one thing that I found out about art that made me love it more is like even when I'm old, I can still paint and enjoy it. It's like you never retire in art. You paint till and you keep learning till you are just no more.
Yeah. And you're less prone to have injuries with art.
Exactly.
So, as an artist, what would you say your most substantial challenges have been?
Most substantial challenge. I would say me personally, it's usually with myself. Because when you are in the studio, it's just you and your thoughts. And it's one of the greatest battles an artist can face with his or her own thoughts. Because during our process, everything is at stake. Your energy, your brain, cracking your brain, trying to bring out something that you want people to appreciate because it's almost like it's not even almost, you are putting yourself out there, your vulnerability, everything about you. Even though you have a muse that is posing for you, but you are also putting yourself out there to be criticized by all kinds of people. So you ask yourself questions and all of that. And sometimes this is the moment where we also fall under depression because we are our own enemy, I would say, because we criticize even ourselves a lot before even the whole show comes out for people to see. So I would say the greatest one is just myself and my thoughts.
And what do you enjoy most about your practice?
The process, the battle to complete the work, and finally when it's done. It's the process that I enjoy a lot because then I fall into this little boy, this little kid that has been handed like a whole bunch of toys to like a Lego toys just to play around and discover stuff. So you always enjoy the process. Sometimes it's frustrating, sometimes you see something, you discover something, you are happy and all of that. So that process alone is what I enjoy. And then for the complete work and people to see it and enjoy it, that also brings excitement. Like finally. So sometimes when I walk into my own exhibition space and I look at the work, all that I see is, man, the process that I went through for it to be finally displayed like this for people to enjoy and then people reach out and congratulate you. It just brings that moment, just you alone in the studio and like getting mad at a canvas or a stroke that wasn't supposed to be there by mistake and you almost destroying that canvas. But at the end of it, look at how people are enjoying it. So it's always the process for me.
And while you're creating, do you think about who your audience is?
Sometimes yes and sometimes no. Now I'm leaning more to myself more than the audience. In the beginning, I was thinking more of the audience because me as a person was looking for that kind of like validation from the audience that, yeah, you did this, you did that. But I also realized that in the beginning, when I was a child, I was doing it for me, how it made me feel because it was the only way I could express myself vocally. So I was leaning into that kind of validation from people, but I start realizing that I have to love it before the people will. So when I'm thinking, it's switched from thinking about the people to thinking about how it makes me feel and then how it makes my muse feel, most importantly, because I'm trying to put their story out there. So when I complete the work, I bring them, whoever that I painted, bring the person in for them to enjoy the work first before it gets out. Because I want them to experience it and then see themselves in a way. Because sometimes when you meet these people and then you talk to them, you can tell a lot of people don't even have confidence in themselves. So it's up for me to paint them in such a way that they see themselves differently and appreciate themselves more. So it's more about them, and like I said earlier, and also discovering myself, and also getting to appreciate myself more, and also getting to understand myself more. So all of that comes into thoughts before my audience, because I always say that the idea that I might have, and I complete a painting, and the painting is being exhibited, the audience may also see it differently from a different point of view, because it's an open discussion. So I always think about myself, my names first before the audience.
Your process is therapy for your muse. They must really appreciate that.
Very, very. It's one of the
Yeah.
most moments that I cherish more than being in my own opening. Because when your muse comes in and they look at themselves, and the moment they open the door and then they see the work, they take a deep breath, and then when they release and then they start to tear up.
Wow.
You then, the artist, that is where you know that you've tapped into something that is deeper than just painting a picture or a portrait of a person. Because then you've released something deep and painful from them that becomes a relief for you, the artist. And I can tell you that I've seen so many changes in some of my muse that I painted, that their confidence level changes, and later they themselves reach out to you and thank you for painting them because they see themselves differently. And that is where, for me, it becomes the priceless moment for me, because I have achieved something that even me myself, and that's why I say I also discover myself from that, that it makes me appreciate myself more when I see that. So it's a beautiful moment.
Yeah, your process confirms that art will save us. Yes,
Exactly.
yes. Thank you. Thank you for that. So share with us, what are you excited about right now?
The future, the future, the things that I want to do, those are the things that I'm excited about. I have so many ideas and shows and themes that I want to work on that I'm super, super, super excited about. I'm mostly super excited about the future. Just waking up and like what is ahead of me. I'm always excited about it. The limited edition is coming up. It's my first embroidery edition and it's going to be a timed limited edition, which will be available for just 72 hours. And we are still talking about the quantity that we will make, and then we are still on the price point. But it's one of the most beautiful things that I've worked on that I'm really excited about, and for people to enjoy it. And it's very different from all the things that I have done because this is my first embroidery. So people should just watch out. Very soon it will be out. We've not come up with a date yet, but I'm pretty sure we will release that very soon so that people will get to know about it.
Fantastic. What do you feel is the purpose of art?
What do I feel is the purpose of art? It's a whole lot. Art is just there to remind us the possibilities, the possibilities, and also to be open minded. Like you said earlier, it is one of the things that will just heal humankind if we are open to it. I think that is the most important part, and the purpose is to heal and to be open minded and to also just accept who we are and also accept change as well. Art is just so many things that if we really pay attention to it, I think we become better human beings.
Yeah, I hope so. I hope so. Especially now, we need it.
Yeah, exactly. We need it. We need it. And they know it's one of the most powerful tools. That is why they also try to block it. They also try, because if you know art is not that important, it's not powerful, why are people concerned about the different type of art and the different type of race in the art? Why do people who don't want to see certain? Exactly, because you know what it can evoke.
Right.
You know, I mean, think about the World War II, World War One. Why were arts being destroyed? Why were artists being kidnapped and killed? Because they know they have the voice to change how we think, how we see things. Art heals, art evokes conversation, art also brings people together. Look at when we have an open solo exhibitions and all of that. Look at all kinds of people that are working. We put people together in one place just to have open conversation in a free and safe environment.
Yes. I've enjoyed our conversation very much.
I have also, and I'm glad you did.
I appreciate it. I love your perspective. So this is the last question. You've probably answered it a few times already, but how do you want your art to impact the way people think?
Wow. It's a broad question. The answer can vary, but for me, I just want people in my art. It's like just for people to see differently and to not forget about history. I always say it's like a learning process, an exchange program. I'm just basically documenting stories out there to see yourself in such a way that you yourself would never imagine. You know, I'm just basically educating people about different cultures, different way of life, different in how we see people. You also try to let people accept who they are, enjoy who they are, black, brown, green, whatever color. So it varies because whatever emotions my art kind of like invokes in you, I always make sure it's on the positive side. Even if it talks about the craziest thing in the world, you end up understanding things in a different way and opening your mind to acceptance and change.
Well, thank you. This has been wonderful. I really appreciate your time. And it's a therapy session for me. Thank you.
I'm glad. And thank you for having me. And it's always a pleasure when people want to know your practice and all of that. And I'm just glad that we are able to do this.
Thank you. No, it's been a pleasure. Take care.
You are. You too.
Thank you for listening to Cerebral Women Art Talks podcast. For additional content, please visit cerebralwomen.com and be sure to follow Cerebral Women on Instagram.